All right, guys, you know, when we're fishing timber, we're fishing trees, we're fishing stumps, and one of my other favorite types of wood to fish are laydowns. Pre-spawn, spawn are some of the best times to fish laydowns, and the reason for that is they're gonna migrate back and forth on this tree. What's going to happen is typically the end of the tree is going to be in a little bit deeper water, and see the tree's falling off the bank, so it's going to be way shallower. That was an alive tree at one time, and it just fell off the bank. And what you're going to do is those fish, they're going to start, when they first pull up, they're going to be on the tips of the tree. They're going to be over that deep water, really kind of hanging out, and as that fish starts to spawn, that fish is actually just going to migrate north. And it's not a far migration. I mean, he's going 15, 20 feet. But when he's staging and he's pre-spawn, they like to suspend. They'll be in the tip of the treetop. And then he's going to migrate towards the trunk, towards the thicker part of the base of the tree. And he's going to spawn up there a little bit shallower. So once that water warms up, that fish is going to push up towards the trunk of that tree. And that way he's got his back to something. He's not suspended. He's not deep water. He can put his back, they can make a bed there, and they'll spawn towards the end of that tree. And once that fish gets done spawning, he's gonna migrate back out and be towards the ends and in the middle of that tree, because that's the prime place for feeding. It's usually over deep water, especially if you can get it around a channel swing, a creek bend or something like that. And that's where all the bait's gonna funnel across the front end of that tree, and that fish can feed there. And that's gonna be the most aggressive fish, is gonna be the fish on the ends of those trees. That is always going to be your most aggressive fish. So how I attack these laydown trees is I'm going to make a couple casts with a moving bait, say a spinner bait. I might flip the jig on the ends of the tree. I'm just going to make a cast right off the end of it. A lot of times I'll swim that jig through there, and I'm just going to make a cast right towards the end of it, because if that fish is really aggressive, he's going to come out and eat it. And the thing is, I don't want to start over into the thickest part of the tree. If I start in the thickest part and I catch one, I've probably ruined that tree, because I might have to go in there and get them. But what I want to do is I want to catch as many fish in that tree as possible. I've caught upwards of 7 to 8 fish out of a single tree like this sometimes. So what you want to do is you want to start on the outside and work your way to the thick part. I'll start, you know, I made a cast on the front, and then I'll start pitching my way in there. I'll get a little bit closer for you guys. I'll start pitching around these outside corners, then I'll make a pitch to the heart of it, and then I'm going to work my way up the trunk. The trunk is typically going to be my last cast. You know, pick off these little outside limbs, throw a couple casts in there, and don't be afraid. I mean, this is a jig. It's not going to get hung up if you take your time. If you rush that cast out of there and be in a hurry, you're going to get hung. But don't be afraid to get right up there in the thickest part of it, work it through there, and then as it gets later, this is a real nasty one. It's a real burly looking tree. That's one a lot of people pass up sometimes. Don't be afraid to get up in there and get in there nasty with them. I mean, them fish are, listen, they want to protect in the cover. So don't be afraid to get as thick as you can, but start on the outside and work your way in.